I'm not having fun anymore. Mets lose 4-2 to the Chicago Cubs, and the Mets have dropped another series yet again after we were riding the highs of back-to-back series wins. Well, we got a little bit of a reality check as the Mets, where we expected them and wanted them and said, okay, 4-2 we'll live with. We really want 5-1, but 4-2 we'll live with. Like we mentioned on the podcast, go listen to that if you haven't. It's still somewhat relevant, I guess. But regardless, we would have been content with just 4-2, and now we're at a spot where they had to lose two to go 4-2, and they lost two, and it's just during this next stretch against the Cubs and Rockies, that is. But regardless, this is just not good enough baseball. It's just not. And the offense, pathetic yet again. And Kodai Senga was just not good at all in this start. And we're going to talk about all of it and deep dive everything. Before we do, leave a like on the video if you do enjoy. Subscribe if you guys are new, especially if you're Met fans. Met Central is the place to be if you are a Met fan, because we go deep and we go hard into this team. And also be sure to turn on your notifications so you know when we upload or go live here on the channel. But let's talk about it. First inning, the Mets go down in order: Nimmo, Lindor, and McNeil. By the way, something to note, Mark Vientos is not in the lineup yet again for whatever reason, and instead they elect to go with Daniel Vogelbach. Why? I don't know. But like I said, Mets go down in order to kick the game off. Bottom of the first, Senga had a little bit of command trouble from the jump, and he ended up getting a ground out from Horner, walked Mastrobani, I think that's how you pronounce his name, and then Swanson with a force out, and Ian Happ strikes out. So not the worst outcome, but still definitely worrisome. Mets go down in order yet again the second inning from Alonso, Beatty, and Marte. Bottom of the second, Seiya Suzuki leads things off with a walk. Mike Tauchman then with a single. Things looked ugly, but Kodai Senga did end up getting the next three outs fairly, not easily, but he got the next three outs from Morel, Mervis, and Barnhart. We go to the top of the third, and Daniel Vogelbach strikes out to lead things off. Mark Canada with a nice little single. I think that was a little opposite field single. And Francisco Alvarez, the guy who needs to be the everyday catcher and should not be sent down when Nito and Narvaez are healthy. Francisco Alvarez with his sixth home run of the season, and it was a thing of beauty as he kills it to center field and makes it a 2-0 game. So we're feeling good. Nimmo strikes out, Lindor flies out, but okay, we're feeling good. And Nico Horner leads things off with a walk. Mastrobani ends up flying out. Dansby Swanson with an RBI double, though, to make it a 2-1 ball game. I'm sorry if I'm saying that name wrong, by the way, but Dansby Swanson makes it a 2-1 ball game. Ian Happ strikes out, and then Seiya Suzuki hits a double to make it a 2-2 game. Again, Senga having trouble, and Tauchman ends up getting an RBI single, and that makes it 3-2. So all of a sudden, that 2-0 lead is evaporated, and the Cubs take the lead. Chris Morel ends up forcing out the end of the inning. Top of the fourth, a ground out from McNeil, and then a single from Alonso. But Brett Beatty ends up flying into what ended up being a double play situation as Alonso failed to get back to first base as he ran thinking it was going to land. Bottom of the fourth, walk, and more walks. Two walks from Mervis and from Barnhart. Nico Horner ends up, or both runners, I should say, end up getting to move over with a balk there. As again, Kodai Senga, you could just tell he was not feeling it at all. But he ends up getting a strikeout on Horner, which was huge. Ends up getting the next two outs as well. So he escapes what could have been very big trouble. Top of the fifth, Mets go down in order. All groundouts from Marte, Vogelbach, and Canna. Bottom of the fifth, Ian Happ with a single. Seiya Suzuki pops out. Mike Tauchman strikes out. And then a little bit of trouble again from Senga as he allows a single, but he ends up getting a strikeout to end the inning. So you know what? For as bad as he was throughout the start, I guess you take the fact that he allowed 3 runs, even though ideally the way that it went down was not pretty, but he gave you 5. He only allowed 3 runs. He put the team in a position where they could have won the ball game, and the offense just didn't show up. Francisco Alvarez with a single. Nimmo then hits into a double play. Marcus Stroman celebrating on the mound, having a field day. Lindor then with a ground out. Drew Smith comes in the pitch, and he strikes out Barnhart and then leaves a meatball right down the middle to Nico Horner to crush to left center field. That makes it a 4-2 ball game. Then he surrenders a walk. Swanson then flies out. Ian Happ with a single, and Seiya Suzuki grounds out. Mets in the 7th inning go down in order: 2 groundouts, one from McNeil, one from Beatty, and then a flyout from Alonso. Bottom of the 7th, Brooks Raley comes in, and he does fantastic work as he gets back-to-back strikeouts and gets a ground out of the inning there. So very good work there by Brooks Raley, who has been money a bit lately, which is something that we expected when we got him, and I'm glad that he's doing. Top of the 8th, Marte with a walk. He ends up getting a stolen base as well. Vogelback would ground out, though. Canna with a walk, and then Francisco Alvarez hits into a double play. That's the end of the inning. Jeff Brigham comes in for Brooks Raley, and he ends up getting a 1-2-3 inning as well. And in the 9th inning, Leiter comes in the pitch for Stroman, as Stroman was finally done. They were not getting his pitch count up. I look, and it's like the 7th inning, and I'm just seeing he's at 60 pitches. I'm like, what are we doing here? Anyway, the Mets go down in order in the 9th inning. That's your ball game. Your winning pitchers, clearly Marcus Stroman. Your losing pitchers, clearly Kodai Senga, and the save goes to Leiter. Didn't drive the pitch count up enough. Awful quality at bats. No quality at bats, I should say. Just horrendous. Horrendous at bats. And unacceptable. The fact that you did what you did against Tampa, what you did against Cleveland, where it looked like we were finally getting back to the old Mets way of driving the pitchers insane and driving up the pitch count and making them work for their innings. All of a sudden, that is just evaporated over the past 2 games against the Chicago Cubs, and it's just unacceptable. Brandon Nimmo 0 for 4 on the day with 2 strikeouts. Can't happen. Can't happen. And again, the strikeouts especially. Can't happen. Lindor 0 for 4 with a strikeout. It's just not good enough. McNeil 0 for 4. Brett Beatty went 0 for 3. Marte went 0 for 2. 0 for 3 from Vogelback. And the only guys that got hits were Alonso, who went 1 for 3, Canna, who went 1 for 2, and then Alvarez, who went 2 for 3. Alvarez was the only one that got multiple hits in this game. And he's hitting 9th. It's unacceptable. You need more production from the top of your lineup. I beat the drum about that nonstop. I know it's obvious, but still, it's just embarrassing that they couldn't even drive Stroman's pitch count up and even get to the bullpen to put themselves in a position to maybe explode for offense. It cannot happen. But 4 hits to the Cubs 8. It's not like they even allowed a lot of hits, the Mets pitching staff. It's not even like they allowed a lot of hits. And you still only get 4. Disgusting. Disgusting. The fact that I could count on one hand the amount of hits that they got. 0 for 2 with runners in scoring position. Couldn't even get runners in scoring position. 1 runner left on total. It's just not good enough. They didn't get enough hits, didn't get enough quality at bats, couldn't even really draw a walk. You had 2 walks in the game. Are you kidding me? And one of them was from one of the few guys that got a hit tonight. It's just pathetic baseball. Pathetic. And this is what was driving me insane about them earlier in the year, because they were doing this time and time again, especially the offense. And we saw time and time again, the offense remain pathetic. And yeah, now it's looking like after a high week here it's looking like that offensive dry spell is coming back, and I hope it's not here to stay, and I hope they could get out of it, but it's definitely worrisome. Senga, like I said, 5 innings pitch, 3 earned runs, got 6 strikeouts, allowed 5 walks, though. The command was an issue. Again, I say it all the time. We knew that walks were an issue with Senga when they signed him. We knew that was a thing, but 5 walks is unacceptable. I mean, come on. And then the balk, too, to add to it. Gross, just yuck. And he ended up throwing 106 pitches in the ball game too, in 5 innings. The way that the Cubs just grinded out bats more, it just was simply better. Just simply better baseball from the opposition. Just that simple. Guess the only good thing is he didn't allow a lot of hard contact, but we're grasping there. The spin was down with pretty much every pitch. I mean, he only threw 1 curveball in the outing, and that was the only pitch that had the spin up. Outside of that, the spin was down. The velocity down. It was just not a good start. Just wasn't from Kodai Senga. Drew Smith, not good out of the bullpen. 2 hits allowed a walk, ended up allowing the run, got a strikeout, but Drew Smith needs to be better as well. That's another guy who needs to be better when his name's called out of the bullpen, because this is a guy that, with Diaz out, he just simply has a higher role and he has to simply just be better. The pressure's on. Sorry, just the way it is. Brooks Raley, though, and Jeff Brigham both looked very good, and I'm happy, especially Brooks Raley, who was definitely sharp in this outing, getting a couple strikeouts, which you love to see. But Jeff Brigham, also, like I said, very good, getting a strikeout and having that clean inning of work. But regardless, this was just not a good showing for the Mets, and they need to find a way to salvage the last game, and they need to now go on and win. I mean, can you say they got to sweep the Rockies? That's who they play next, right? I'm not tripping and when I say that, but you got to sweep the Rockies at this point. Yeah, they're playing the Rockies. You got to sweep them. And now the pitching matchup got a little more interesting. It's no longer Jameson Taillon tomorrow. It's now Hendricks on the bump for the Cubs versus Carlos Carrasco. Not a good look. Not a good look. So, yeah, I'm worried for sure about a potential sweep, but hopefully I'm wrong. Hopefully I'm wrong. That's going to be it for me, though. Thank you guys so much for tuning in and watching. If you did enjoy, remember to leave a like, subscribe if you guys are new, especially if you're Met fans. Turn on your notifications so you know when we upload or go live next on the channel. I'll see you in the next one. Let's go, Mets.